We are just going to wait a few moments to let people into the webinar, and then I will start momentarily. We do have a full hour, and so I do want to start shortly. We'll just give it another few seconds, and then I will begin. All right. I think we are ready. So first of all, welcome everyone to our 6th session of our 8-week series where Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers is responding to the needs of lawyers who may be feeling the impact of the rapidly changing landscape in the world and the legal profession. Elena Deutsch, whom I will introduce shortly, will be our speaker for today on essential networking strategies for a smarter job search. And this topic is essential in today's job market since studies have shown that 70 to 85% of jobs are filled through networking compared to cold applications. My name is Amy Levine. I am the Director of Programs and Volunteers here at LCL. I will be your host, and as a reminder, LCL helps the legal community with mental health, substance use disorders, well-being, and law practice management. Elena appreciates an interactive webinar, so she will respond to comments and questions throughout the presentations. Additionally, because this topic is about networking, if you feel comfortable, please share your email address and/or full name for someone to find you on LinkedIn so you can expand your network. And please do that in the chat or Q&A channels. And now I am honored to present Elena Deutsch. She is a leadership and career coach and founded WIL, Women Interested in Leaving Big Law. She does work with all genders as well as all lawyers in various legal positions. And she writes and speaks on career leadership topics. Her work has been featured in Above the Law, Bloomberg, the Wall Street Journal, and she has done presentations for the New York City Bar, the DC Bar, and lots more. Her mission is to help legal professionals build careers for greater freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. And without further ado, I will hand it over to Elena.
Thank you so much, Amy. It's so nice to be here with you guys, with Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers and everyone who's here today. Can we just do one thing? The chat seems to only be going to hosts and participants.
Yes.
And is it possible to open that up so I can see that, so I can chat with everyone?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is, can you see that it's to everyone, or I will post
it's just right now to hosts and participants. What I'm going to ask, as you're working on that, as we're just saying hello and coming into this experience, I'm going to ask that everyone just in the Q&A box, so you should have the Q&A box, that if you could put in your first name, where you are zooming in from today, and what made you sign up for this. Okay. Oh, good. So please put in the chat. So is that...
I am copying and pasting so everybody.
Okay, great. So if you're in the room, if you're a participant, can you write into the chat just your first name, where you're zooming in from, and if it's not, I'm not seeing that in the chat yet.
You're not.
Oh, here we go. Here's the attendees.
Okay,
let me see if I can see all that now. Here we go. It's showing up now. Thank you so much. Whatever you did, Amy. Thank you. Okay. Hey, Sarah. So glad you're here. Okay, great. Hi, Margaret. Lovely to have you. Okay, Lindsay, where in Massachusetts? I used to live in Western Massachusetts. I lived in Northampton for a period of time in my life. I'm a fan of the state. It's one of my favorite states. I'm a Cape Cod goer. So really, really happy. Okay, Westboro, beautiful. Just so glad to be here. So thanks so much. And we're going to be using the chat a lot today. So I'm keeping it open. So you keep it open too. It still says just host and panelists on your end. Thanks, Sarah. But as long as I can see it, we're all good. That's what matters. So whatever it says, it's working, and we'll take it that way. And Margaret, thanks for being brave and putting your LinkedIn in, and Sarah, you too, your email, so you can connect with other people. Okay, great. I just want to check first. Does everyone have the workbook? I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to dive right into the workbook. So if you could drop into the chat if you have the workbook. And if not, let me turn on focus mode so it looks cool. All right, so let's see. Hi, Rick, welcome. Okay, Patricia, just want to make sure everybody has the workbook. Okay, Sarah, you put in your thing. So Amy, can you just help make sure everyone has the workbook?
Yes.
I just want to, I could grab it from my my Dropbox too and drop it in.
That would be
okay.
helpful.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do that, because did people get it ahead of time? I just want to, I didn't check in on that.
No, we were
Oh,
gonna.
no. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me grab that link and let me drop this into the chat. And really, all you need right now is a piece of paper. I just want to there's a cool workbook. I'm going to walk you through it. But really, all you need ahead of time is a piece of paper. So a piece of paper and something to write with. So thank you, Amy, for dropping that in there. Okay, good. That's not a cool looking link, but doesn't matter.
It works.
It works. It works. Okay. So thanks for your patience, everyone, as we are working out our little kinks. Okay. All right, let me just close this out. All right, and get back to the share. Okay. Here we go, ready to rock and roll. So as Amy said, my name is Elena Deutsch, and for the past 8 years, I have been helping women lawyers mostly, yes, some men, non-binary people, figure out what they really want to do with their law degree, figure out how to get a new job, and how to not let the lawyer identity stop them from exploring new things, whether it's in the law or out. So today we're going to focus on essential networking strategies so you can have a smarter, easier job search. And Amy and I were talking about this a little bit before the call. We're going to talk about networking. We're going to talk about all the things that stop you from really getting out there and going for it. Okay, zooming in from Atlanta. That's so great. Okay, you're here for employment change. Good. If people could drop into the chat, please, what you'd really love to get from this session, why you showed up today, whether you're listening to the recording, hello everyone on the recording, or you're here live, please drop into the chat what made you show up today for this, what made you sign up for this, and what made you show up if you are here in person. And if you're watching on the replay, what made you press play on the replay? Okay, so if you could do that, that would be great. As Amy is bringing that over. Amy, are you having to copy and paste? Is that what's happening?
I was copying and pasting, but I think that I was able to allow there more interaction.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to type in a message.
Okay, good. Lindsay wrote.
And let's see if we can all see it.
Yeah, to feel empowered. Yeah, if you guys write to the host and panelists, then we'll see that. To feel empowered if and when I want something different. That's great, Lindsay. Okay. Margaret wrote, I'd like more confidence during my job search. Good. Sarah, I wasn't going to out you, Sarah, but Sarah just wrote, she's a will participant looking to make a change in the near medium term, currently mid-law business litigation partner. Yeah, so Sarah has joined my program, and I'll give everyone an opportunity at the very end if you want to hear a little bit more. I'll share that and how you could take a next step with me if you so feel called. All right, Amy, to feel empowered when I want something different, more confidence. Okay, great. So today we're going to focus, we just have 1 hour and I've got a lot to cover with you. So we're going to focus on making this job search easier, more strategic and effective. If that sounds good to you, if you would like that, and again, click on your thing and write to hosts and panelists. If you would like a job search that's easier, more strategic and effective, drop a yes or a Y into the chat. Okay. And so in this workshop, we're going to, yeah,
I'm
Amy,
just
go
going to
ahead.
quickly
Yeah.
jump in to see if folks are able to see other chats. I did change that in the chat function. So just wondering if folks are able to see that.
What it seems like is if people are writing to hosts and participants, then I can see that. So when you have the chat feature, there's that little down arrow, and you should be able to choose like to everyone or hosts and participants. So if you could please make it to hosts and participants.
Excellent.
And then that way I can see it and read it aloud. Okay, good. So of course, and as Michelle said in the chat, like, of course I would, but I'm skeptical. Okay. And that's so normal. Michelle, I want to normalize that for you and everyone. Not only is it normal to be skeptical, but I think we're reluctant to do networking for a number of reasons. And so we're going to start by redefining networking. And then I'm going to share with you two very strategic tools around network mapping, and how you can tap into your map through a mind map and also through a more linear spreadsheet. So we're going to, whether you're more right-brained or left-brained, I've got a tool for you. And then we're going to get into what could you share in some of those conversations. Okay, star stories. And then I have some additional resources for you at the end. And Amy, can we make sure we send this workbook out to everyone after?
Yes, we will do that.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Okay.
And for folks to know that they'll also receive a recording shortly after the program concludes.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you so much. All right. So let's just start with a deep breath. We have had some technical things, and thank you everyone for your patience with that. And I am overcoming pneumonia. Actually, I just got diagnosed with pneumonia this week. So if I cough a little bit, please forgive me. I've got some water and tea right here. So I might need to mute myself on occasion. But let's just take a breath and take a beat. You've arrived. You're here. You showed up for yourself, either right now or when you're watching this recording. And I want you to just take a breath and give yourself some credit for all the things you've already done today and this week, this month, and this year, and just let them all drift away behind you. You feel your feet on the floor and look around your space. And just look around, look up, look over your shoulders, look down at the floor. And this actually has the effect of grounding our nervous system and telling us we are safe. And why is that important? Right? And I'm just going to really quickly touch upon anxiety, because so many lawyers are in such a state of high anxiety. And when that happens, your prefrontal cortex goes offline. And guess what you need in order to be a high functioning attorney or job seeker or anyone? Right? Your prefrontal cortex online and grounded. So taking that moment, taking a beat, just look around, tell yourself, I'm here. It actually makes everything more effective and go faster. It's counterintuitive, right? So if that makes sense to you, please drop a Y into the chat. Okay, great. I've got the everyone function up now on my system. Thank you so much, Amy. So just drop a Y into the chat and I should be able to see it. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah. Okay. So let's start with thinking about networking, with redefining networking. So when you hear the term networking, and I want you to write into the chat, what thoughts arise? What thoughts arise as you think about the word networking? What comes to mind? So things I typically uneasy, worst first thought, schmoozing. Yes, I have to pretend that I love working and sell myself. Yeah, exactly. Schmoozing, being salesy, being fake. You know, sort of there's this vibe of taking, right? Like I'm going to take something from someone, which none of us want to do that. That doesn't feel good. Does this make sense? Is this resonating? And when you hear those thoughts, when you think those thoughts, schmoozing or salesy or uneasy or pretending I love working and selling myself, how do those thoughts make you feel, right? We're just going to go through this playbook. And again, this workbook. All you need is a piece of paper to make some notes for yourself and to be present and put your thoughts into the chat. So when you think those thoughts, how does that make you feel? And if you could type that into the chat, that would be great. When you think uneasy, schmoozing, reluctant, gross, I'd rather opt out. Michelle, that is so good, right? If I pretend I love working, I have to someone inadequate, unprepared, right? The platform, my social anxiety goes up, keeps me from taking the next step. Okay, great. Good. Let me just see if I'm seeing anything over here. Okay, great. Really good. Okay, great. So when you think those thoughts that it's uneasy, schmoozing, like fake, gross, what actions do you take or not take? Okay, and I'm going through this very deliberately and systemically, and you'll see why in a minute. Gross, I'd rather opt out. Okay, Michelle said, I have to pretend like I love working and sell myself. Gross, right? I feel gross. Action, I'd rather opt out. So when you feel gross, when you feel uneasy, when you feel inadequate, when you feel unprepared, when you feel anxiety, what actions do you take or not take? I avoid it. Right? Now, if you've participated in some of these other programs that LCL has done, you may have touched upon some of this like mindset work, but I want to hone this mindset specifically around the word networking and what's happening for you, right? I avoid it. Okay, Patricia, you start with a conversation, a convention. I wonder if you meant conversation. I start with convention. I avoid it. All right, connection. Start with a connection. Okay, good. Okay, good. I go to events, but mostly stay quiet. I don't leave feeling satisfied. Okay, and what results when you do or don't take those actions, what results do you get? Okay, if Patricia starts with connection, she might get some, but if you're avoiding it, if you go to events but stay quiet, if you're not reaching out to people because you feel inadequate or unprepared or feeling anxiety, what results do you typically get? Right? You can imagine, right? Avoiding it makes networking harder, increasingly harder, right? And we are doing this and focusing on this because Amy shared the very important statistic that most jobs, 70 to 85% of all jobs are not even posted or are found through a person-to-person connection. Okay, right? My opportunities remain limited. I already feel like I'm behind and I can't make the difference. Okay, so those are the results you get. And you guys, this all happens subconsciously. It's not like you're like, oh, networking, I feel this way, I'm going to avoid it. It just happens like that in an instant. And you don't even think about this. So this is about bringing to consciousness what's happening subconsciously so you can get a different result. And if that sounds good, give me a thumbs up or a yes. Okay. All right, so what are some new ways that you could redefine networking? And Patricia already gave us the word connecting, right? And I'm going to add to that, connecting with people you already know and like, asking, listening, giving. Networking can be like you're reconnecting with someone you like and you're listening to them and you're asking how they are and you're giving them a referral or a resource or something. So that's included in networking also. Having a conversation, just merely having a conversation. Thanks, Sarah, for the thumbs up. Okay, so I left 2 bullets blank here because I'd love you to redefine networking. I'd love you to put into the chat, please. What are some ways you could redefine networking? Okay, again, Patricia already wrote connection. What are some ways you could redefine it? Finding people who share my passions. That's fun, right? How can I participate in the event? Like I've looked into volunteering. If you volunteer, you're there early, you're setting up, you're talking to people, you're helping. You're, putting out the name tags, whatever, right? I like the concept of giving, sharing, offering. Exactly, offering. That's a beautiful word to add to this. I love that. Using strengths and experiences you already possess. Exactly. Good. Okay. So when you think these thoughts, right? When you think those thoughts, how do these thoughts make you feel? How do these thoughts make you feel? Right? Giving, sharing, offering, finding people who share my passions, participating in events, volunteering. How do those thoughts make you feel? I want to focus on this word feel. How does that feel when you think, oh yeah, I have something to share? Equipped. Oh, such a good word, Lindsay. So good, right? So different from what you wrote above, I think. Inadequate, right? So different. You feel equipped. Using your strengths and experience. Beautiful. Other people. When you think this new thought, either one of the ones I offered or one of the ones you came up with, how does that feel? Just do a time check so we can make sure. Less self-conscious. Wonderful, Margaret. Love it. Love it. Love it. Maybe great. Inspired. I know people doing awesome things. Exactly. And people doing awesome things want to know you too. And whatever you're doing. Okay, and we'll get to like who those people are. It feels more exciting. It also feels slightly more vulnerable. Yeah, there is vulnerability in reaching out to people. 100%. It's not always going to be comfortable, right? But if we just stay in our comfort zone, that's not where growth and change happens. Growth and change happens just beyond the edge of our comfort zone. Not so far out, so you shut down, but just over that line of comfort. So, and trust me, I'm working on this every day too, like pushing myself, taking full responsibility for my results, and pushing myself to do the uncomfortable thing. Okay, and what results might you get, okay, when you take these new actions, right? Oh wait, I skipped actions, so let's go back. So when you feel these things, inspired, less self-conscious, equipped, what actions might you take? Okay, what actions might you take when you're feeling more strong, inspired, excited, less self-conscious, giving, right? What actions might you take? I love the person saying volunteer, show up early. Might you reach out to someone? Yeah, more outreach, Lindsay. Exactly, more outreach. Great. I love it. These are so good. You guys are doing great. Okay. Yes. Thanks, Amy. All right, good. So, but those are typically, right? If you feel excited, are you more likely to take action? Are you more likely to reach out? Are you more likely to send that person an email or message them on LinkedIn or check in with an old friend? Right? And then what results might you get if you do those things? Right? What results might you get if you reach out, if you're excited, if you connect, if you volunteer? What results might you get? Okay, I'm going to just wait for the little Zoom delay. Type it into the chat. If you don't know, that's fair too. Just write, I don't know. I don't know what results I would get. So typically when people do more outreach, they just connect more. I love what Sarah said before, like inspired, meeting people doing awesome things, right? At some point you might connect or someone was willing to give you an opportunity. Right. That's what happens when you connect with people. Opportunities start to come your way. Doors begin to open. So many people are focused on resume and cover letters. That's not the place to start. The place to start is even before this workshop, but that's the work I do with people in Will, is to get really clear about what you want, who you are, the elements that are most important to you, and then go out there and talk to people about what it is you want, right? I might find out their paths I hadn't even thought of and where I'd like to be. That's so great, Michelle, so great. Okay, so good. Okay, so you guys are getting this. So to recap on this tool, I want to just share this with you. This is a tool I use with all my clients. I use it in every coaching session. I call it TFAR. It's based on cognitive behavioral therapy, where there's something that happens. You're seeking a job. You're looking for new opportunities. You're looking to figure out what else you could do. And we all have these thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. And we get more conscious, and you can use this worksheet again, or you can just write TFAR on a piece of paper and write down, what's my unconscious thought, right? How does that make me feel? You bring the thought to consciousness. How does it make me feel? What actions am I taking or not taking? What results do I get? And then do a new one, right? When you think new thoughts, new feelings, new actions, new potential results. And I want to share, so I've started a podcast, the Will Podcast, Will, WILL, hyphen women interested in leaving law. And one former Will member, she shared her story of doing over 100 informational interviews and what her mindset was and the thoughts she had to keep telling herself to keep going. It's really quite an incredible story. So navigating the twists and turns towards a new career with Leah Frankel. So you can link to it here. This will take you to the Apple Podcasting, or it's on Spotify too. And the resource is also on the resources page. But I just wanted to point you to this one episode because I think it's kind of remarkable, right? That someone did 100 informational interviews. Drop me a yes in the chat if you find that pretty incredible. And let's keep going. You guys ready to move on? Drop me a yes in the chat if you've got this TFAR tool, you've got a new mindset around networking, and you're ready to move on to network mapping. Okay, great. Thanks, Margaret. Thanks, Amy. Okay, good. Okay. So now the question is, who should I reach out to? Right? Okay, I'm good to go. I understand, like, I'll connect with more people. It's going to open the door to new opportunities. But who do I reach out to? So one of the default thoughts I typically hear from lawyers and people I work with is like, well, I don't know anyone who's not a lawyer. If that rings true, give me a yes or drop me a thumbs up. Like, oh yeah, I only know lawyers in my one network. Maybe that's not true for you. Okay, but a mind map is a tool that can help you expand your thinking and tap into different parts of your brain, right? So again, we're getting out of that this is the more right brain tool, but I find it's like incredible for everyone to just start to think more broadly, expand your vision for seeing that you know far more people than you think you do. Okay. So a mind map is a tool to help you brainstorm. You can use it for many, many different things, but for this, we're going to focus on how many people are in your network. And the truth is most people have at least 250 people in their network, like just in your life. And all those 250 people know 250 people. So we all have a huge network, whether or not you've thought that before. Okay, so notice any thoughts or feelings that are coming up, any resistance, and you can use TFAR to reframe. Okay, these people can come from all walks of your life. So in your center of your mind map, and I'm going to give you an example first, and then you're going to do one, is you. Okay, so I want you to just, and in my map, like I made these like curved lines because it's supposed to be done with curved lines and squiggly lines and colored markers or pencils if you have them handy. Don't stress it if you don't. But it just sort of breaks the linear thinking to have these like more squiggly lines. And so then draw arrows to different boxes. So to your partner or spouse, who might they know? Then to friends and acquaintances from law school. You could certainly do connections, people you've worked with before, both senior to you at your level, junior, right? Friends, your friends, right? Friends or acquaintances who are great connectors. This is a little different than just generally your friend, but people I would say 2 or 3 people who are friends who are like really plugged in. They're super connectors. I had dinner with my friend Marcy last night. Marcy is like a hub. She's like a Chicago O'Hare. She knows tons of people. Okay, who are people in your community, in your neighborhood, your kids went to school with their kids, right? You know the parents from around the neighborhood, maybe your church, your synagogue, your mosque. community leaders. Who do you know in your neighborhood, in your town, in your city? And then other family members, your cousin Josh, your cousin David, whoever is coming to mind, who are like, oh yeah, this person is really connected. And one thing with this thing too is to write down people you're happy to talk to, people you're happy to reach out to, people you're like, I love my cousin David. I'm always happy to call him. He's always helpful. Like those kinds of people. We want to keep this easy to start with, right? And have it be uplifting and joyful. So, okay, this is a model you could brainstorm around. And I left a couple of blank boxes because there's lots more categories you could fill in. So maybe you're in a sports club, maybe you go from your gym or yoga studio, maybe you're part of a special interest group or online communities. I know there are some like law mama groups and lots of online communities. Where you can network and plug into people who are colleagues. I already mentioned that, past and present. And when you're done, you're going to circle 1 to 3 people to start with, keeping it simple. Okay. So you were part of a pug meetup group. I love that, Amy, right? Like exactly. My dog, I've got a dog. She's not here today. She's at the dog sitter, so I wouldn't be interrupted today. But like my dog group, 100%. Okay. All right, so I want you to just grab a blank piece of paper, nothing fancy. What's fun with mind maps is you turn the paper on its side. So turn it horizontal or landscape. And then write you in the center and just draw some arrows and write some categories, kind of like I had up here. You can pull from up here. I'll leave this up to give you a place to get ideas, but I want you to make your own mind map right now. Okay, who are people you could reach out to? Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to do this. And let me know, drop into the chat if you have any questions. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute or two to do this. And if you like doing things like this online, I gave you the source where where I made this template, where I got this template, and you could go there and make your own, online mind maps. But really doing it on paper it's actually proven that there's a better brain hand connection that lights up parts of your brain that you want activated. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 more minute to work on this. And this is just the beginning. You can come back to this. We don't have, you might want to spend a lot more time on this. You might want to just spend even like 10 minutes. It really doesn't have to take a lot of time. I do mind maps often to help me plan my week. What are all the things I want to get done in a week? And it's just a little more fun way for me and a little more right brain for me to do a list, a to-do list. Okay, so I want to scroll down to this section, and I would really love if you put into the chat either 1 to 3 people that you came up with that you're like, yeah, I could reach out to those 1 to 3 people, even if it's one person, that's great. Or if there were some categories where you're like, oh yeah, I know a lot more people in this area than I thought I did. So if you could do that, that would be super great. And like Amy shared, she was part of a pug meetup group. So what are some groups of people or some people who you're like, oh yeah, my friend My friend Rebecca is a really great connector. She's always connecting with people. She's always happy to connect me with people. Who are some of those people who are coming to mind? You can just write their first name into the chat. That would be great. Okay. Nice, Sarah. I'm part of so many working mom groups. And Stacy Zoe. Fantastic. You've got 3 people to start with. That's so good. Margaret, you got Sam. 1 is awesome. 1 is a great place to start, because at the end of every networking conversation, a great final question is, who else should I be talking to? And in the Will program that I teach, that I lead women lawyers through, I've got networking, like outreach templates and scripts, so you don't have to create your own emails. And I've got like 5 questions to ask in an informational interview. So I've got more resources than I can share with you on this call to get those conversations going. But I want to give you that last question, which is, who else would be a great person for me to talk to? Okay, good. So for the interest of time, we're going to keep moving on. But before we do, I just want to get some thoughts. Sarah wrote, yeah, networking. Thanks, Amy. Those messages are coming through, Amy, just so you know. I am curious, like, how's this resonating for you? Is this feeling helpful? Are you like, okay, I see there are more people I could talk to. My network is bigger than I originally came in here thinking. If you're seeing networking in a little different and more expansive way, please drop a Y or yes into the chat. Okay, and Patricia, respectfully, I've done this so many times and it's not yielding anything new. Patricia, say a little bit more. What's been happening for you? What's not working, so I could be most helpful to you? Yeah, I really want to know. Okay. And if this is feeling helpful to you, yeah, go ahead. Amy, hi.
Hi. I just wanted to find out, I know Patricia raised her hand. Are you okay if I give her permission to talk?
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Is that okay?
I would love it.
All right.
Oh God, yeah, we're a small group. That would be fantastic. Thank you. I'm not seeing that. So I think with the chat open, I'm not seeing the Q&A box. So yeah, please.
So Patricia, I think I give you permission to talk. So I don't know if you want to give that a try or just continue to write your comments in the chat.
Okay, so people are really struggling with the mind map. I really appreciate the honesty that you guys are sharing. So Patricia's saying, I've done this many times. And Patricia, if you can come off mute, please do. I'm hearing someone else is saying, I'm already exhausted thinking about the energy it takes to reach out and continue reaching out or following up. Yes. Yeah, and I spent a lot of my career before I was a lawyer in different states, so it's difficult to build this mind map effectively for where I am now. Yeah, I think one thing I want to say to that last point, and if you want to come off mute also, Margaret, if we do Patricia first, and Margaret, then Margaret, if you want, because we have some time. I can't, Patricia's having trouble getting off mute.
Okay.
I don't think I have that capability. So is everyone just, it may be the settings of the Zoom, or that everyone is muted and can't unmute?
Yeah, I was able to, or it looked like I was able to unmute, but maybe that's not.
Okay, Margaret's okay without talking.
Okay.
All right, because I would love, all right. It's a bummer. I was hoping to maybe give you a little coaching, Patricia. Patricia, if you want to reach out to me privately afterwards, I'm happy. Classic avoidance. I'll drop my email into the chat. I'm happy to have a conversation with you after, just to coach you a little bit through that. See if we can unloosen some new ways of of seeing this. Okay, you're welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, so I hear you that this is okay. Great. I'll just put my email into the chat right now. And yeah, for the people on this webinar, I invite you to please give me a call or send me an email. We'll hop on a call and see if I can walk you through that. Because I hear some of the frustration, right? And that's real. And if you I'm not dismissing that. You have it. It's real. If you've tried this, like I'd love to just talk to you, see if we can find some new ways to maneuver around it in your thoughts and your actions. See if there are a couple of people you could tap into that could unlock some things. All right. There's Patricia. Let's see. She's showing up on my thing now. Let's see if I can, I don't know. Amy, you want to give it one more try to ask to unmute or?
Yeah, let's give that a try.
Okay, thank you. You guys are being so patient and
I appreciate everybody bearing with me.
yeah.
So I have clicked on her.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
We did it. One more time.
Worked.
See, one more time was the trick. Hi, Patricia.
Perseverance.
Thanks.
Good
Thanks for your
afternoon.
willingness to come on. So, Patricia, you want to just say succinctly, like what you've tried that hasn't worked?
Okay, I can be. I'm very good at networking. I'm very good at building relationships and all that. But how many times can you go back to some of those networks and keep building? For myself personally, I'm in the job search again, and it's been a while. If one more person tells me it's network, yeah, right. But okay, the network. But how many people follow through with say they try to help you? And I never ask anybody for a job. It's just right. You're wondering, like, if an inside scoop, what do they know about the company? Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I get that, but it's not I mean this respectfully. Like I just feel like I've been there, done that 1,000 times.
I hear your frustration.
I need something else.
You need something else. Okay.
And trying to transition into another area of law after you've been practicing law for a very long time is not easy.
Yeah. 100%. It's not. And we can get to some of this. We'll get to one last tool after this in just a minute. I just want to acknowledge your frustration and acknowledge how hard it sounds like you've been working and doing this, and that you sound, like I said, frustrated, pretty tired from this. Is that true? Oh, you're back on mute.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah. And so when you're frustrated and kind of angry, like how is that impacting your ability to take action?
I put myself aside and I continue on.
Yeah. So you're really persevering and not getting where you want to go.
But I interview quite often. So I've interviewed for the same job for the last month for 3 of its competitors. Same job, three companies. Great candidate, great candidate, great candidate.
And have you gotten feedback as to how come you haven't gotten those offers?
Yes. One is always like, well, we're going in a different direction. Or one woman, she was fantastic. You just don't quite have the experience, but they did meet, but she did her and the recruiter think, but we think you'd be a better fit for this role within another area of employee benefits. So I just interviewed with that job a week or so ago.
Congratulations. So you see, you are getting results from your perseverance.
But no, you don't understand. I get results all the time. I get up to bat. I get all the way to third base, but I'm not hitting a home run.
Okay. I don't know you well enough to be able to comment on any of that, but I just want to acknowledge your perseverance. And like, it's so infuriating when these kinds of things happen. And I just want to validate, and I feel your frustration. I feel your like, and your tenacity to keep going is really impressive.
I might suggest, because Patricia has done so much networking that maybe, somebody else made a comment that, Patricia, you're getting farther than that person. Margaret. But I wonder if, Elena, as you mentioned, to have an offline conversation.
Sounds great.
Maybe
Patricia, I'm here
talk a
for
little
it.
bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that sounds like a good plan.
And I wonder if this next tool that I'm going to share with you might help you kind of hit the home run in those interviews. And maybe you know this already. So let's just keep rolling. And Patricia, again, happy to talk with you offline. Okay. So if you are a little more right brains and the mind map is like not your jam and not for you, I've created a spreadsheet for you. You can just, again, when you get this workbook, I can try and click on this and drop it into the chat. I just don't want to take us out of this now. I can do that at the end. But I've created this spreadsheet. You can just click on it, make a copy for yourself where you can really brainstorm and fill in. You can add rows, family members, colleagues from former jobs, clients, former clients. And, it's really spreading your net both as wide as you can, but also being as strategic as you can to go to those people who are really good connectors, who are happy to help you, even if you're calling them for the third time, who are in your corner, the people who are happy to hear from you, and the people you're happy to connect with and catch up with. Again, networking isn't just about what can they give me, but it's like, who could I help? Who could I reach out to also? So there's this Google spreadsheet for you if that's a helpful tool for you too. Now, the final tool I want to share with you are star stories. So if you're familiar with star stories, drop a Y into the chat. If you're not, or if it's new to you, drop a no or an N. So star stories are, it's really key to unlocking, to showing all that you can do. And this can be very helpful when you are making that kind of transition from practice areas or to something new, because it gives you an opportunity to showcase not just what you've done, but what you've done and who you are. So, okay, good. So, okay, they're not new to Michelle, they are new to Sarah. Great. So a great tool is to have a few star stories of varying lengths and depths to demonstrate your strengths, how you work with others, and what you bring. Now, again, this is typically at the end of the work that I do with people, but first we're gathering all the information about who you are and what you bring. But again, some of you have really been diving deep into that. So STAR stands for situation, tension, action, and results. Okay. So the S stands for situation, and you want to give briefly the context of a situation. So maybe you're telling a story. When I was a 5th-year associate, I was tasked with blah, 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 right? Or in my last role, I was tasked with blah, blah, blah. So you just are very briefly setting up the situation or the context. The T stands for tension. So what was a problem or a challenge that you solved or overcame? Every story has its hurdles. Think about the Wizard of Oz, right? Dorothy has to get through the yellow brick road, the field of poppies, the scary forest, right? It drives the action. And so one of the key things with this is for you to remain the protagonist, right? When I was a 5th-year association, I was tasked with pulling a major deal together because the senior associate went into premature labor. I had never led anything like this before. Okay. So like, this is the situation, this is the tension. And then what's the action that you took? You are the main character. This is the place to bring all of your main character energy, right? Avoid the royal we. This is not like we did this, we did that. It's you. You're telling your story. You're showcasing your strengths, the results you got. Again, I was a 5th-year associate tasked with pulling together a major deal. I got on the phone with the partner and we laid out the situation. She and I came up with a plan. And then I called a meeting with the juniors and laid it all out, right? Like, what action did you take that shows you're proactive, that you're a problem solver, that shows you're really great at connecting with people, that shows that you're great at listening, whatever it is that your strengths and skills are. So I do the Clifton Strengths Finder assessment with everyone who I work with. Actually, Sarah just did hers and sent me her results the other day. So like, those are strengths. It's a great tool to help you dig into your strengths if you don't really know what they are. And then what results came out of the actions that you took. So I'm very good at keeping my cool in stressful situations. I arranged and sequenced all the tasks, and the juniors told me they felt clear and supported. We got the job done with minimum drama. I was told by the partner, glowing accolade. And if you have some results that you can quantify, and we made the partner $20 million, we made the client $20 million, whatever it is that you can, share and quantify. Okay, so I gave you in the worksheet, I gave you a chance to write one of your star stories. So we have some time, and I'd like you to just give this a try. Are you willing to give this a try? Here, I'm just gonna pull the page a little smaller so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so just think about a situation that you were in. Give the context. What was the tension? What was the action you took? And what were the results of the action you took? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to work on this. One of the great things about star stories is they can be short. They don't have to be long. And you should have in your interview prep toolbox a few of different lengths. So you should have some really short ones. So for today, work on a short one, and then you can have a longer one, but really kind of 30 seconds to 3 minutes length. Okay. So is anyone, let's see, Amy, could we try and unmute someone, see if they're willing to kind of share theirs? Is that?
Sure.
Is anyone willing to come off of mute and share a star story? And it doesn't have to be perfect. There's no, okay, Michelle is willing. Thank you, Michelle.
Michelle, okay.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Did that work?
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yay.
Awesome. So I was sought after by a landowner who wanted to draft a lease that was favorable to her farm tenants as well as herself. So it was a very novel client arrangement. I had to balance the needs of both parties and stay in line with the ethical requirements as an attorney. And I did that. I met with both of them, both parties separately. I met with both parties together. I sought after advice from the ethical hotline here in Georgia. And the result was a lease that was incredibly friendly to the farm tenants and supported something new and exciting and sustainable on that property, and a happy client who had a lease agreement that made her feel safe to support the farmer's work.
It's so great. What a great star story. You really hit every bullet there. That was terrific. So are you willing for me to open it up and just hear what people took away about you, like what that story shows about you? Are you willing for me to ask that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so what did I'll say a few things, and then as what did you learn about Michelle just from that one story? What did that story demonstrate about her ethics, about her problem solving, tenacity? Just go ahead and put into the chat anything that you gleaned about Michelle from that story. All right, hang in there, Michelle. I think people will get some things going in the chat, but she cares about equitable transactions. Yes, Margaret, exactly. Yeah.
I feel seen. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, good. You really, as people are coming in, like I heard, you were up for a novel approach. You've received this challenge with game, and like, yeah, I can figure this out. You had that kind of figure outability like within you. You're like, yeah, this is novel. I'm game for it. You were really careful about the ethical considerations, and you went the extra step by calling that hotline. And you came out with like an unusual arrangement and a favorable result for all parties. And that shows that you like really care.
I am jotting these things down. Thank you so much, everyone, for the feedback.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you for being willing to come offline and share. Okay, we're approaching the top of the hour, so I want to just give you a chance to reflect on what we've covered so far. So we covered the mindset reframing about networking and noticing how your thoughts influence your feelings, which influence your actions, which influence your results. And then we covered the network mapping and the spreadsheet, and finally the star stories. So I'm curious if you could put in the chat, what's one thing, just one thing you took away from this experience so far today? Just one thing, one new insight, or one new way of thinking about things, or one action that you intend to take. So one thing you're taking away from today, and while you do that, you know what, I just want to reflect one more thing, Michelle, if I can. One more thing is that this story demonstrated all those things about you. You didn't say, I care about ethical concerns. I'm a good problem solver. I'm willing to take novel approaches to figure things out. You didn't say those things. They were demonstrated. They were shown. And so that's really the effect of, just saying those things or telling a story. And humans are wired to remember stories, and you're gonna be more memorable if you can tell a few of these stories. So Michelle, good. I give myself permission to not follow the networking paths that give me the ick. Good. I can find the paths that make me excited to act. Fantastic. Great. If you have other insights or takeaways, Sarah, I know that I will probably cover a lot of this down the road and will, but I'm going to start thinking about my star stories. Great. I have to jump off. Bye, Sarah. Thanks so much. Great talk soon. I hope to be less apprehensive when contacting people moving forward. Great. Okay, good. So obviously there's a lot more to a job search. I hope you found this helpful. Again, this is like the end of the work I do with people. I typically help people figure out, what are my criteria? What do I really want? If I'm making a job transition, if I want to get out of the law or switch practice areas, what's in my toolbox that I have to do that? So here are some additional resources if you want to chat. I mean it, you're a small group. I'm happy to just get on the phone and do a little coaching with you. No obligation to talk about will at all. So if you want to take me up on that, take me up on that. And if you want to learn more about what I do and working with me, here's the website, womeninterestedinleavinglaw.com. If you want to book a clarity consultation where we really go deeply into what is not working for you, what you would love, and how you could get there, that's what we do in a one-on-one. It's a 1-hour confidential conversation. And here's where you can find the podcast. And I also want to give an additional shout out and resource, which is my friend and colleague, Anne-Marie Segal, wrote an incredible book called Master the Interview. This is, more than I could ever cover in 1 hour. It's an incredible resource. So if you don't have this book, I highly recommend it. Okay, but please connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you. And yeah, I think we're right at time. And if you have any questions, I've got another, I'm happy to stay on a little bit after if people can, but no obligation, of course. And thank you to Amy and Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers, Massachusetts.
Thank you so much. This was an amazing presentation, so much information, really solid takeaways, and I think to also make people take that next step and take some action. One of the things I wanted to mention really quickly is I'm a big proponent of LinkedIn, and as Elena said, it's connecting with her on LinkedIn as well, is sometimes you forget who you know. And so maybe putting in a search in your LinkedIn, just your first connections, and it will remind you, oh, I haven't talked to that person in a while. Yeah. And so it's nice. You have an automatic list of people that you can reach out to. Again, you might not remember, but using that as generating that list for you, I think could be helpful. Anyway, my
100%.
little.
That's great. Yeah. And like someone said, it was either Margaret or Michelle, to reach out to the people you feel excited to reach out to reconnect with. That you don't have to go with the ick factor, not like a should, but where do you feel that pull? Like, oh, I really enjoyed working with that person. I wonder how they're doing. And reaching out for a 15, say, hey, can we catch up, have a call, have a Zoom, 10, 15 minutes. Would love to see how you're doing. Would love to reconnect. And to be genuine in that. And I shared this with Amy over, like, I work on this stuff all the time too. Like, I work on reaching out to past clients. How are you doing? Staying connected. And I have this posted on my wall. It says people over posting. So it's so easy now to just stay behind the computer and not call people. But this is really connecting with people. Even a phone call, it really, I know it's kind of out of vogue, but it can be a little bit of a disruptor.
You know, and I would agree. I know we're over time, but sometimes it is picking up the phone. As much as it, in this day and age, sometimes it is a little bit more scary to do, or just folks are not used to doing it. It is very effective. It is very effective over an email.
Yeah, because email's overwhelming. You've got, how many emails have you got? All right, everyone, I'm going to stop the share. Thank you so much for being here today. And yeah, if there's any way I can support you going forward, please reach out to me.
Thank you again. Wonderful, wonderful presentation. I'm floored.
Thanks, Amy. That's great.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.